Steve, an teachtain seo, baimid ag fálam faoin Briathar Feic. This week we're going to be learning about the verb feic, which means to see. Be careful not to confuse feic, which means to see, with feic, which means to look at or to watch. They don't just sound the same, they also have very similar meanings. So feic is something you see, but feic is something you watch, like maybe something on the television. Okay? Ach dús, tá míid chun súil siar a caitheamh ar an aimsir caite rialta. But first we're going to have a look back at the regular aimsir caite so we can see the differences between feic, which is an irregular verb, and these regular verbs, which are the normal way to do it. So dús, tá is a gwyn sa aimsir caite chuireann muid H ar chunsan, no D ar gutta. So it's a H for a consonant if it's one of the consonants that can take it, and remember they can't all take a H, or a D apostrophe on a vowel. The only other real difference in the aimsir caite is that when we're using shin or muid, we add on an ending. So we get our shin and our muid and we kind of absorb it into the verb. This happens in the other tenses as well, and it also happens in the aimsir láithreach with me. But in the aimsir caite, the only time we do this is for we. So how do we do it? Well, it will depend on whether it's leathan, broad, or quail, narrow. And it will also depend on whether it's céad réimniú, which is that first group, which are mostly the one-syllable verbs, or dara réimniú, the second group, which are mostly multi-syllable verbs. So let's have a look at our endings for leathan céad réimniú. Amar, A-M-A-R. For example, Rúnamar, we closed. Now our quail ending is amar, but it's spelled with an E, like Vrishamar, we broke. Then when we go into our second group, which like I said are usually multiple syllable verbs, we knock off the ig on the end and we add Iamar, like Cianiamar, we bought. See, the ig part of cianig is gone, and now we have our Iamar. For our quail ones, it's Iamar again, but without the A because it's narrow. Like Valiamar, we collected. When we're asking a question, we use air. For all of the other tenses, we use on, A-N. But this is the big difference in the aimsir caite, it's air. Air rún tú, did you close? If I want to answer that positively, I just give the verb right back to them. Remember, there's no yes and no in Irish. So I'll say, rún me, I did close. But if I didn't, I'm going to say near. Again, this is a difference in the aimsir caite. In the other tenses we say ní, but in the aimsir caite it's near. Near rún me, I didn't close. Anish an aimsir láithreach, the present tense. Remember, not I am going to the shops, more like I go to the shops every week. Now, we have an ending in the aimsir láithreach, and we use that ending for me, to, she, she, shin, muid, shiv, and siad. We can use this ending for any of them, okay? And it's on. Dúnan. Here again it's on, but with the E for the quail version. Brishan. In our two-syllable group, Ian. Cianian. And again Ian, but with the A knocked off because it's narrow. Balian. Dúnan. Brishan. Cianian. Balian. Dúnan tú an fuinneó gach ihe. You close the window every night. Brishan tú the pean Louis gach shockton, you break your pencil every week. Chianíonn tú bruntanus gach nullig, you buy presents every Christmas. Balíonn she na copalair ag deireadh an lei. She collects the copies at the end of the day. Now, we can use that ending for me, but there is also a specific other ending we can use for me. Dúnam. With the A gone. Brisham. Iam. Cianiam. Valium. And as we know, there's always a separate ending for shin and widge for we. Like I said at the start, you can actually use that first ending and just write shin with it. So you could say dúnan shin or brishin widge, but this is really a better way to do it. So it's amij, dúnamij, we close. Imij with the A missing for the narrow one. Brishamij, we break. Iamij for our two syllable ones. Cianiamij, we buy. Imij. Baliamij, we collect. And the slight difference here in our I'm sure Loihruk, our present tense, it's on, not air, it's on for a question, and ni for no. Okay, now we're going to look at the I'm sure Áisteanach, which is the future tense. We haven't done quite as much work on this as the other ones, and we will be doing more work on this in the future. But just like before, we have one ending that we can use for any of our persons. We can use it for me, tu, she, she, shin, shiv, or shiad. And it's this. Now, you're looking at this and it looks like fade, but you'll hear the way I pronounce it now. Dún he. Now you can pronounce it as a he or a fee. Most people would say he, so it's dún he. Dún he too. You will close. Here it is again. You notice it's missing the A because it's narrow. Brish he. Brish he she. She will break. O we. For our two syllable ones. Cianowi. Shiad. They will buy. O we. This time it has an E because it's narrow and it's missing its fada because it doesn't need it. Balowi. Two. You will collect. Now, for the I'm sure Áisteanach, there is no special ending for me, so we can forget about that. If we're saying me, it's dún he may, brish he may, cianowi may, balowi may. But as usual, we do have a special ending for we. Famij or hamij. Dún hamij. Here it is again. Famij or hamij, both pronunciations are correct. Missing the A because it's narrow. Brish hamij. Oimij. Okay, you can see how that relates to the OE up above. It's like the OE ending but with a mij on the end. So, cianoimij. And you can probably guess what's coming next. Oimij with an E. Baloimij. Just like our I'm sure Loihruk, our question is on, and our negative answer is ni. It's only in the I'm sure Catcha that's different, where it's air and near. So, again, like last week, why am I telling you all of this when we're going to be looking at an irregular verb now? It's so that you see the patterns of how it's supposed to be, And then when you go and look at the irregular verb that has its weird little differences, it's much easier for you to remember the weird little differences. If you know how something should look, it's easy to figure out when it looks different. Okay? Okay, Anish. Buggy me Jarag go feck. We're moving on to feck, which is what we're learning about this week. Remember, feck, to see. Not feic, to look or to watch. Feck, to see. Let's have a look at our I'm sure Katja. And oh my goodness, it couldn't be any more irregular, could it? That word looks absolutely nothing like feck. But this is what we say for the past tense. Connick. Connick ne mo chara. I saw my friend. Connick tu, connick she, connick shiad. But for we, connickamer. Connickamer. And we can see there it has that same amur narrow ending that we saw with the regular verbs at the start. So it looks very different from the name of the verb, but it's still following the same rules. Connickamer, we saw. Here we have a very strange looking question word. It looks nothing like it, does it? On vaca. On vaca too. Did you see? I bet you can expect what the answer is going to be. Connick. Remember, we just give them the verb straight back. We don't say yes or no in Irish. We say, I saw. An vaca tú? Connick me. I wonder if you could guess what the negative answer will be here. Kind of think of the pattern we've seen so far with te. An yaki? Ni yaki. And Dane. An yarna? Ni yarna. So here we have an vaca? Ni aka. Again, it's totally breaking the rules, but there is a kind of a pattern in it. So Shin an I'm sure Katja. Now moving on to an I'm sure Loivruk. Fecum, I see. Feckin. Feckin two, you see. Feckin she, feckin she, feckin shead. Please remember that fecum is just for me, and that im part means me. So don't write fecum me, because that would basically mean I see I, or I see. You're saying the I two times if you do that. So it's not fecum me, it's just fecum. And then it's feckin two, feckin she, feckin she, feckin shead. To do we, fecumige. To ask a question, it's just it with an uru. On feckin two, the answer, fecum, so we just give the verb back, or ni ecum with a H. So again here, this looks a lot more like a regular verb, doesn't it? Because we have our fec part, just like the name of our verb, and then we're following all the same rules here as we usually would with a regular verb. It's just really the past tense of this verb that's weird. The present tense is okay, it follows the rules. Now wait till we see what happens in the future tense. And I'm sure Ashtanach. Fecky. Fecky. Now here there's no special ending for me. So it's fecky me, fecky tu, fecky she, fecky she, fecky shead. And then for we, fecamige. Or some people would pronounce this with the F, they'd say fecfamige. Most people would say fecamige. On veki, again, we just add the uru, the BH at the beginning. Feki, to say yes. Ni eki, to say no. So that's feck. I want you to have a good look at that and think about it. Based on what we saw at the start of this video, the I'm sure Loivruk here, your present tense, and the I'm sure Ashnach, your future tense. It actually just looks like a regular verb. It follows all the rules it's supposed to. It has a for me. It has an image for we. It has an uru for a question. And it has a H for a no. In the future, it doesn't have a separate me ending. It does have fechmij for we. and again the uru and the shevu. All of that is what we would expect from what we've learned. The only big difference here is our past tense, which looks totally different because it's conic, and its question and its answer also look strange. So that's the main thing to concentrate on remembering there. Okay, so this week you're going to be writing sentences on this, and Fiona and I are going to suggest that you try and throw another verb in there as well, because you go places to see things. So we're going to suggest you use the verb te in your sentence as well. So here's an example. Chuig me go dtí an scoil agus connic mé mo bhúnseoir. I went to school and I saw my teacher. Okay, how about te amíd go dtí an Spáin gach samhra agus feic amíd or Georgia. We go to Spain every summer and we see our friends. Try those out this week, and hopefully you'll get on as well as you've been doing in the last few weeks.